Dr. Keenan here. Hey, friends all over the world. I have a prophetic word for you, a very important prophetic word for you. And it's not just a word, but it's really an instruction. Beware of blind spots. Beware of blind spots. Beware of blind spots. You know, I was at a car dealership, and I was testing a car that I want to get, and I was testing out the car and the different technological features and the different safety features and all this kind of stuff. And there was a feature on the car which is called a blind spot detection, or a blind spot monitoring feature. And this is basically a series of cameras around the car that will not only notify you. Well, first of all, it will surveil the car, the exterior part of the car that you can't see. And it will notify you in the event that another vehicle is coming into your blind spot, or you're going into another lane, or something is coming around you that you're not able to see. And it reminded me of one time I was driving, and I thought this would really come in handy. One time I was driving, and I looked at I looked at the side mirror, and I thought I was clear, and I jumped in the lane and almost hit the other car. This is what is called a blind spot. And in this season of your life, you need to beware of blind spots. You need to make sure that you are supplementing the areas that you can't see clearly. And make no mistake, we all have them. It's just something you can't see. There's some areas that you can't see. The Bible says we know in part. We prophesy in part. And the problem is not seeing. The problem is not seeing while thinking you are seeing. And this is why, listen to this. This is why not only is prayer going to be critical in this season of our lives, but networking is going to be critical. What do I mean by networking? There needs to be people in your circle of influence who can see things that you don't. I'm telling you. One of the most dangerous things for a leader, one of the most dangerous things for any person of influence, is to have blind spots in your life. That's why you can't have people around you that always tell you what you want to hear. Every time they tell you are amazing, you're great, you're wonderful, you are super, you're the best. Yes, we're supposed to have people who celebrate us. We're supposed to have people that are grateful for us and want to appreciate what God is doing in our lives. We need to have an amen corner. We need to have people who clap for us. That's great. But that needs to be counterbalanced with folks that will say, man, did you notice that you do this? Not only that, the devil always exploits your blind spots. He is constantly exploiting your blind spots. Those areas that you can't see. You're not paying attention. You're not paying attention. I'm telling you, this is going to be critical. This is going to be critical. Get this word. You need to illuminate the blind spots because there's some areas that you're not paying attention to right now. See, that sometimes you'll be focused over here and you won't see what's coming over here because you're not focused over there. Watch this. You need to pray for a prophetic panorama. And this prophetic panorama is where you allow God to reveal to you the areas that you're unable to see. And this revelation often involves God bringing people into our lives who can speak and who can, watch this, communicate to the blind spots. Don't be blinded by the enemy. Don't be blindsided by the enemy. Don't be blindsided by the enemy. He's constantly lurking. He's constantly seeking to take advantage of the areas where you are vulnerable, where you're not attentive, where you lack awareness. Beware of the blind spots. You see? That's why I love when I was trying this car. The technology in the vehicle has the capacity to see for you. Did you hear what I said? The technology in this vehicle that I was looking at has the ability or the capacity to see for you in the places you are not capable of seeing. You see, let me tell you something. That's why you need intercessors in your life. I know you pray for yourself, and I know that's amazing, but you need some prophetic intercessors who can be in the middle of the night and stuff you're not even thinking about. They're saying, man of God, woman of God, sister, brother, this is what God was showing me. Beware of the blind spots. I'm trying to tell you. The enemy is trying to exploit areas that we are not paying attention to. There's some proclivities that you have. There's some tendencies that you have that make you more susceptible to certain things. And you need to experience illumination in those areas. You see? Beware of the blind spots. I remember, and I shared this story before many times. I've had times where I thought someone, sometimes we're so busy talking, we're not listening. You got to listen. Pay attention. Listen to this, because I was not attentive in this particular area, I granted someone access who should not have been given access. And it nearly destroyed my life. This is why sound counsel is so important. Women, let me tell you something. Don't just marry a man because you feel it in your spirit. Before I got married to my wife, she had community around her. She had folks around her. She talked to her brother, her mother. She talked to her father. She talked to folk and said, let me bring him around y'all so that if you may see something I don't see. Y'all not hear what I'm saying. You see, sometimes we're always being so narcissistic, and we think we're the only ones that God, God talks to me, and I hear from God for myself. Let me tell you something. More people have been destroyed hearing from God for themselves. I don't need the church. See, I'm telling you, that's why church is so important, because one of the things that being in community does, it helps you to be made aware of blind spots in your life. Stuff you didn't even know about. Listen, hear me. Some people will come to you. Did you know? Listen, you need some did you know people. I'm not talking about in a negative way. You need that confidant that can say, did you know you have a nasty attitude? And that's what's actually sabotaging your opportunities. You're praying and fasting and asking God, Lord, what is wrong? Lord, why am I going through this resistance? And somebody, if you just had somebody around you with some sense, they would tell you why. Because you don't have people skills. You're negative. You have a nasty attitude. And that's why folks don't want to be around you and they don't like you. And here you are fasting and praying for 40 days. You're becoming emaciated, eating locusts and wild honey and trying to act like John the Baptist and say, I'm just in the wilderness and nobody. No, there's things that you're doing that you're unaware of. There could be things that you are doing that can be addressed pragmatically. I'll never forget when I first started going into ministry. I'm not as a pastor, but years ago when I lived in Atlanta, I first started going to ministry and doing team ministry. I had a brother in my life. And this brother was very meticulous and very responsible. And he said this to me. He said, Keenan, you're very good when it comes to spiritual things. He said, you really have a deep understanding, a lot of wisdom, a lot of revelation when it comes to spiritual things. He said, but in this area over here, you're irresponsible. It made me so mad. It made me so upset. I was so angry. I was so upset. But you know, that brother was totally correct. Because I was proficient in one area and I was seeing great results there. But there were other areas of my life that were deficient. And the devil never attacks your proficiency. He always attacks your deficiency. He always comes to the areas you are deficient in. That's where he comes. Listen to this. Sometimes we say, man, that attack came out of nowhere. No, it didn't come out of nowhere. You were not paying attention. Man, the enemy just came out of nowhere. See, no, that car, when you're driving, that car didn't come out of nowhere. It was encroaching into your lane the whole time, or you were encroaching into that lane the whole time, but you were not aware of it. That's why David prayed. He says, Lord, deliver me from presumptuous sins and secret faults. Don't let them have rulership over me. David said, I recognize there's some areas in my life that I'm not seeing. I'm not aware of these things. I don't have the ability to recognize these things. He says, God, shine light on those areas. Deliver me from those things that I don't even see. Those areas that I'm not even aware of. Sometimes, watch this. Sometimes we are going into situations blind. That's why Paul always prayed this prayer. He says, I would not have you ignorant. I would not have you ignorant. One of the names for demons or the devil is the ruler of the darkness. And that word darkness, skotos, it means blindness. So the devil, listen to this, he has jurisdiction over any area we're ignorant of or any area that we are blind to. That's where the enemy has access. He's a ruler in the areas of your blindness. And that's why we have to pray for eyes to see. We have to pray for ears to hear. Lord, make me aware. Show me things I'm not thinking about right now. God, stuff that's going on around me right now that I'm blind to for whatever reason. God, open my eyes to let me see it. Sometimes many of you say, well, this person betrayed me. No, that's not true. A lot of times people have done things, they have exhibited behavior that actually would have predicted their betrayal of you, but you were not paying attention. You were blind to their behavior for whatever reason. Maybe you like them. Sometimes we like people, and because we like them, we are blind to their character. We're blind to their behavior. We're blind to their habits and their patterns that they exhibit. You see? That person that you like, that you're saying, okay, I really like this person, but they lie all the time and they tell little, what we call white lies, but they're a liar. And they've shown you that they're a liar because they don't tell you the truth. Now, what happens is that we become blinded to their lies because we like their personality. That's an example of how we can be blinded. Sometimes we're blinded by our own desires. We want something from someone, and because we want something from them, we're blinded to the things that they're doing, and we're really blinded to who they are. Again, I'm going to say this again. That's why you have to be so careful. You know, the Lord was showing me something interesting. This happened. I was frustrated at someone for doing something. And I've known this person for some time. And I was saying to myself, why would they do this? Especially, they should know better. They should know better than to do this. I mean, I'm talking about observing someone's lifestyle, like how they move and how they behave and how they act. And so I said to myself, why would this person do this? They should know better. And I found myself frustrated. And I said, they should know better. And God spoke to me. He said, son, that's who they are. I said, what? He says, you just never paid attention to it. That's who they are. Especially when you're a talker. See, I'm a talker. What I mean by that is I'm a communicator. I use my words a lot during the day. Now, when you're a talker, sometimes you're not listening. And God says, this is their character. This has always been their character. This is, in fact, the real them. You just didn't know it because you weren't paying attention. They're not acting funny. They're not acting brand new. They're being themselves. You just didn't pay attention to it because you were so busy running your mouth. You were so busy talking and preaching and all this stuff that you didn't take inventory of who they really were. You were blindsided. Beware of blind spots in this season. Pray, ask God, Lord, open my eyes to the areas where I have not seen clearly, or I've had an obstruction in my view. And God, I thank you for a circle of friends who will help illuminate in a spirit of love those areas that I have been previously blinded to. Do me a favor, share this.